They explore, they feed, they rest, they love, they come back. Who can vouch for a plant ecosystem better than insects? Honeybees, bumblebees, butterflies and pollinators of all kinds thrive where flora is spontaneous and varied, obviously without insecticides. Insects, along with many other animals, such as herons, storks, amphibians and all types of mammals, are the main sponsors of one of the most precious and ancient agricultural crops. The permanent meadow. They're also the first to reap the benefits. White clover, for example, has a potential honey production of 127 kilograms per hectare. A prato stabile, or permanent meadow, is a spontaneous grassy plain that hasn't been cultivated for at least 5 years, often for centuries. Flowers grow naturally every season, just through mowing and natural manure. Thanks to insects, the food chain starts in the Mantuan Plain. The area between Lake Garda and the Po River is called the Territorio dei Prati Stabili, permanent meadow territory, situated in the Mincio Regional Park Conservation Area. Here, a cheese is produced that is the envy of the world and that many try unsuccessfully to imitate. Grana Padano is the most consumed protected designation of origin product in the world. This freshly cut flake of Grana Padano reveals even more exclusive colors and aromas, those of the Grana Padano permanent meadows. It's a long story written by Mother Nature herself. 12,000 years ago, the ice retreated under a warmer sun, leaving behind it a vast, deep lake, Lake Garda, and mineral-rich Morenic Hills further south that human beings learnt to cultivate. Even further south were fertile terraces scattered with rare stones and crossed by a wide, slow-moving river, the Mincio. Those were wild times when water obeyed only the laws of gravity. The primordial scenery in the natural reserve Bosco della Fontana is composed mainly of forests and marshes, and together with the Parco del Libertone, it preserves a biodiversity hotspot. Couldn't humans take advantage of this prosperity? Water and human activity can impact the fortunes of different places. Today, we can still admire astonishing reclamation works, active 6 centuries after they were created. Over the years, humans have demonstrated patience and ingenuity. The network of canals testifies to the multiple uses of water for transport, irrigation, flood control, and drought prevention. The gentle slope of these lands allows a slow and steady flow of water from the springs where it rises down to irrigate one meadow after another, nourishing life as it goes. The combination of earth, water, skillful work and long-term vision has created a fascinating and unique rural landscape, made up of hedgerows, native meadows, rows of trees, groves and shrubs, all welcoming humans and animals, wild and domestic, in a rare balance. It's easy to visit thanks to the Prati Stabili Tour, a walking and cycling trail that winds through small hamlets and fields and along waterways, the town of Goito with its winding river path, verdant Marmirolo, Porto Mantovano with its historical and rural courts and the view over the Mincio Valley wetlands, Volta Mantovana, the first ridge of the Morenic Hills, with its 15th century Italian gardens. Roverbella and its ancient canals. Most of the territory is protected by a regional park that includes special conservation areas. These natural reserves are of local and international importance. There are habitats dedicated to the protection of birds, insects and amphibians, the largest and most successful project being the reintroduction of the white stork in Italy. Grana Padano of the Meadows comes from the place where the Duke of Mantua and the Gonzaga family used to go hunting. Naturally, farmers took advantage of this resource. Their story comes from a long way off. The farmers that enhanced the meadows were shepherds from the Licinia, meaning land made for pastures. The shepherds descended the valley every time snow covered the forage on the peaks of Monte Baldo. These black and white photographs highlight the lineaments of the people from the high plateaus around Verona. Dairy farmers of the meadows in the Mantuan plain have Cimbrian origins. In the last 7 centuries, they've taken care of the wild pastures, even though they no longer drive their cows on foot, but transport them by lorry. Every year in spring, more than 60 types of herbs appear, revealing a miracle of nature in perfect balance. The meadow is neither ploughed nor sown. It is fertilized only with manure and watered by the springs. To achieve perfect hay, there's an average of 5 harvests. The first of these in May is known as the Magengo, the last is in September. The dairy cattle are fed exclusively on this special hay. The ancient act of offering hay in the barn is just one of the thousands of traditional rites and processes in the production of Grana Padano of the Prati Stabili. Milking is done at dawn, and immediately after, the milk is delivered to the 6 dairies in the area. Then, the key production processes take place in a flame-red bronze cauldron. The curdling, the cooking, and the breaking up of the curds with the spino into tiny pieces. Only the cheesemaker knows the exact moment when the perfect texture is obtained. Afterwards, during the resting phase, the granules sink to the bottom before being extracted with a muslin cloth or schiavino. Then comes the division into 2 round blocks known as gemellatura. Then the cheese is placed in a round wooden fascera and immersed in saline solution for 25 days. After that, there is a long aging process, from a minimum of 9 to over 30 months. Every maturing room resembles a cathedral. It can contain up to 30,000 blocks. And each block is a unique creation of dairy artwork, deserving individual care, one after the other, before obtaining the quality mark. The flagship of the most exported cheese in the world comes from long-standing care for the environment. The sustainable future is already here, in the protected nature of the permanent meadows of the Mincio Valley.